Hare Hare. Okay. Yeah. You can check and see. Put the harmonium here.
或者你有没有一个硬朗的底是桌子？如果没有的话，就放在那里。因为哈姆你上面一摇，如果不行就放在上面给他。好，拿个凳子。
Put it right here.
Bring the chair for you. Put some. Put some under there, or you let it do. 在他前面。
We're going to do kirtan.
可以吗？可以呀。
Okay.
可以啊。你要给哈姆你给他。
Going to try to do kirtan. See what happens.
OK， 因为他之前说到我们中国人唱诵呢，歌容易跑调，然后我们现在今天来试一试。
Figure out where the camera is. Down there.
You need to become bigger.
No, it's okay.
这个形式当然了，他们我就说帮我带点琴来，帮你带的，对你的对。
Have you played it yet?
没有弹过吗？之前很少。
Can you turn off the music?
好。
Karma, karma. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Nama Vishnu Saraswati Charine Heri Sesa Shadava Stratari Satari Sri Krishna Chaitanya Avarichananda Advaita Godadara Srivasudeva Gaurakarunda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Go. Nitai Go Pramanande, Hare Go. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Radha Krishna Prasthaya Bhaktare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachadni Visesa Sanyavadi Prasthati Prabhupada Ki Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Where's the king? I don't know. There? Doing this on my computer. So tonight is question and answer night. I ask questions and you give the answers. Only kidding. I think better you ask the questions.
然后不如给出答案。
Manipur always has questions. You must have some questions.
有一些问题。大家有问题吗？
Like, what do you do when you get angry and you can't control yourself?
可以问类似的问题。当你生气的时候，无法控制住自己，应该怎么办？
You go in the closet and lock the door.
那你们可能就会去，然后关上门儿。
Come out when you cool down.
然后呢，你回来之后呢，就变得冷静下来。
Answer to is that your question? You ever asked me that question before? No? Don't remember. You have a question? If you get angry, don't say anything. Number one. If you're angry, take some tape, put it on your lips. Because whatever you say when you're angry, you're going to later regret.
当你们那个生气发怒的时候呢，最好就是拿一块那个胶，然后贴上自己的嘴巴，什么都不要说，否则的话，那时候你们说过的话呢，事后会为全而后悔的。
This thing is don't get angry. But until you perfect that, don't say anything because you'll hurt somebody. But then you should find out why you're getting angry. And then deal with it. You got a question? No?
So when China mentor and my father say that the other thing is God Krishna, the word to do.
When you're not chanting, you forget Krishna? That what you're saying? What are you remembering? What? Feels angry? At what? She just left. She didn't tell you why? She asked a question, and then she left. Why do you get angry? So you found out Something didn't go as you expected, so you found out you're not God, and when you realized you're not God, you got angry.
是因为你想象的那样发展，然后你就意识到你不是神，然后呢，你就觉得哦，你不是神，然后就为此而发怒。
是我的孩子考试
哦，
然后那个就是我觉得他就应该去学校了，到学校应该。
Forget the most sometimes my son didn't can do well
School?
at the exam. So
Yes.
the angry toward he should be better.
Can't control. You can't be God. But just accept it. Every time we're reminded we can't be God, we get angry.
就是每一次我们去提醒自己，我们成为
I can't control something. I can't enjoy something. I get angry.
我说我不了这个事情，然后我享受不了这个事情，
By just being reminded that we can't be God. That's the ultimate reason why we're angry. So, you do your best. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. In Las Vegas, they have slot machine. You know what slot machine is? You put money in, you full gambling. You put money in. You have gambling here? No? No. You put money in the machine. You pull an arm, and then it goes around like that, you know. Then you sit and wait. Then nothing. Nothing. It's all set up in patterns how often somebody's going to win. You can't do anything. Like that. You can only sit and wait. So you try your best and then you sit back. Wait. Maybe your son's karma is not to be the best student. Maybe. If that's true, you can beat him up, you can scream at him. It's not going to change anything. Only thing it'll change is your relationship. It'll just get worse. And then he sees, my mother chants Hare Krishna. And now she's more angry than she was before she chanted. So I'm not going to chant. That's what you're teaching. Yes? That's okay. But Generally, anger is not helpful. Sometimes, but generally not.
的话，
Yes, because if he sees you angry, then you're teaching him when you can't control something, get angry.
因为当你愤怒的时候呢，一些情况教导他，你就要发怒。
Because we think our children will do what we say, but they will do more what we do than what we say.
我们原以为我们的孩子就是我们说什么，我们做什么才会，而不是说我们。
You have a cigarette. You shouldn't smoke.
比如说你在吸烟，然后
What are they going to do?
他会怎么做呢？
Well, do what they see more than what you say.
他会按照你所做的去做。
Your son has his own karma.
的业报。
He may fail every class he takes and become the richest man in China. You don't know.
他可能是考试不及格，但是呢，他中国的首富。
He may be the best student and be poor.
但是他却非常。
Best student. Your husband gives him all this money. He invests in a business, and the business goes, and he has no money. You don't know. Can't control.
你的丈夫呢给了他一大笔钱，然后呢让他投资，结果呢他就是投资失败，他全部一无所有。
Steve Jobs from Apple, Bill Gates from Microsoft, and Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. Very rich.
还有那个飞。
They have one thing in common. They all dropped out of university. You think you'll be rich if you stay in university? Well, some of the richest people dropped out. So everyone has their karma.
变得很富有，但通常的情况就是这些人，他们都从大学辍学了，但他们后来都变得非常富有。
Never know. Can't
不知道
control.
会发生什么事情。
I think, yeah. Is what? Because he's an artist. He's not a scientist. He's not a mathematician. That's why. You take somebody, you put them in school, and they have to learn science and math and biology.
一个人放在学校里面呢，需要学习这些数学呀、这些生物学呀、科学呀。
Teach everybody the same thing, but everybody's different. So you teach the artists math, they're not going to do good. You teach the math people's art, they're not going to do good. Somebody wants to be a filmmaker and you teach him physics, he's bored. His mind is creative. So,
倒数第一。
倒数第五个，然后如果这样的同理，我的这个呢，我的进步啊，数学现在就很好呀，错啊，为什么只要我看到我的这个不好，然后这么可以我们俩
So today they have a personal talk, and he told his son, because you didn't get a good result at social science, just the very last 5 or last 6. So she criticized him, but he said, why you don't see my progress in English and math?
Exactly.
Because I already make a progress,
Yeah,
but you
exactly.
didn't see. You just see my faults. So I didn't see anything. I don't know how to reply to him.
Say, I'm sorry, you're right.
你应该说对不起，你对，你说的很对。
The whole education system is not healthy.
整个这个教育体系并不健康，
So it creates these problems.
所以呢，他已经知道了很多的问题麻烦。
Want to hear a story? This one man told his son and daughter,
告诉他的儿子女儿说，
you study whatever you want,
你们就学你们想要学的，
and you don't have to worry about money.
就不需要担心赚钱的问题，
I'll take care of you.
照顾你们。
So they weren't forced into a particular field to make money. They just studied what they wanted. They weren't forced to study. They studied what they wanted.
OK， 所以呢，这样的话呢，他们就不是强迫性的去学习，他们去学他们感兴趣的、他们想学的东西。
While they were still in university, they both started businesses and were rich, doing what they wanted.
他们在那个大学的时候，他们都是学习了有关商业，然后呢 去变成
Because they were business
商人
people.
富有的这些人，因为他们就是他们喜欢这一类。
So they study physics, chemistry. No use for them.
他们为什么偏要他们去学习那些物理学的那些化学之类的？他们对他们没有什么用。
That's one problem.
这就是教育体系。
The bigger problem is that the university, the whole educational system, never teaches anything about who we are.
更大的一个问题，就整个这个大学的一个教育体系的，从来没有教导我们是谁。
It's not cartoon today.
这就是我们今天的这个课程。
I don't know if you have this in your malls here, but they have maps of all the stores. You have that in your malls? There's a map, and you can see where all the stores are. You have that
Yes.
in the mall? There's a big sign that shows all the stores. It says you are here, and so you can find all the stores. It's a map.
Yeah.
You have that?
Yeah. 一map.
It's the board in a mall. It shows you where all the stores are. You have that?
In the hall.
In shopping mall.
Yeah.
Okay.
就是在那个大的商场的，有的时候就是它有一个那个指示的那个牌，它会告诉你你现在在商场的某一个位置，然后你可以就是
Different places in the mall have a big signboard, shows you where all the shops are. Then there's a little dot and says you are here, so you know how to go to the shops. So you see where you are on the map. You have that?
就是那个大商场，它会有一个那个屏幕，然后告诉你你现在目前的位置。如果你想去商场的不同的地方，你可以怎么走。
There's a cartoon today, and it was in a university. It was the Department of Philosophy.
那在大学里面呢，就是有个动画片呢，它就描述了 大学里它有不同的这些科目，
University,
对，
Department of Philosophy.
就是有关这些哲学方面的。
And it had a map of all the classrooms. Same thing.
就是呢，他们有关这个大学里所有的这些不同教室，他们给制了一个地图，按照地图可以找到每一个教室。
Instead of it saying you are here, it said why are you here?
那个所以呢，就是那个它是有关哲学的嘛，所以呢，它不是告诉你你在这个地方，而是它标志的是你为什么会在这儿。
I'm here to make money. My purpose in life.
可能有的人的目的，我来这儿就是为了赚钱，
That's called ignorance.
那是被称为是无知。
So that's the first thing. Yeah. To ask why you're here. That's the first.
那我们第一件首要的事情就是要问我们为什么会在这儿。
That's your duty as a parent.
这就是作为父母的一个职责。
Why are you here?
问你的孩子。
Instead you ask why you don't get good grades.
说去问他为什么你没有考高分儿， 他可能也不知道。
They're not failing. You're failing as a parent.
他们并没有那个失败，而是你作为父母的一个失职。
You are failing. Material knowledge is important only so far. It's not that important.
就是说这个物质上的教育呢，它只是有一定程度的起一些作用，也是仅此而已。
We're just reading yesterday. One of the biggest problems parents make, biggest mistakes they make,
做的一个最大的一个错误，
is that they only show affection and love when the children do something good. They don't show it when they don't do something good, and that is very bad.
最大的错误就是只有当孩子表现好或者做某些取悦他们的事情的时候，他们才会对孩子表现出这种喜爱啊、关心、欣赏。当孩子表现行为不端的时候，他们通常就会收回他们的这种喜爱、欣赏。
Then they grow up thinking something's wrong with me.
然后呢，后来孩子就觉得，是不是我做错了？
I also read something amazing.
我昨天有读到的让我非常惊讶的，
The number one reason children succeed is because they have good they know how to have good relationships. That's the number one reason they succeed. Not good education, good relation. They know how to make good relationships. They're the most successful.
作为那些后来就是取得最大成功的那些人来说，并不是他们就是取得高分的那些人，而是他们懂得如何与人相处的，与人保持这种良好的人际关系的人。
Studied children when they were young, till they were adults, and the ones who were most successful were the kids who got along the best.
有一项研究，从那个孩子幼小的时候一直到他们成年，他们做了一个跟踪调查，发现就是后来取得那些最大成就的那些人呢，并不是取得很高分的，而是能够就是妥善的与人相处的那些人。
The ones who got along the best had the most emotional control.
能够与人相处的更好的这些人呢，他们懂得去控制自己的情绪。
When they learned how to control how they feel, so they don't do bad things even though they feel bad.
他们学会了即便他们感觉不好的时候，他们也会去做不利的、有害的事情。
And they did the best in school also.
而且呢，
Interesting.
有意思。
You had a question. Wanna? But you forgot your question?
Few days ago, I quarreled with my husband. I feel so angry that I want.
He was angry or she was angry?
Uh,
She was angry.
Boss.
What's the question? Should you get a divorce?
你的问题是什么？
You should come to the workshop tomorrow. That's the answer.
明天的那个公众榜就会给到你答案。你的问题是在这种情况下应该怎么办？还是有关婚姻方面的？Feel this is so many problem.
Yes. Yeah, everybody does. Some people handle them better than others.
更妥善一点。
Problems are not the problems. How you handle the problem is the problem.
处理这个问题，这个问题。
Do you know the best couples disagree on about 3/4 of the things? Most couples disagree on almost everything.
你知道吗？就是那些即便是相处的最好的、最幸福的那个夫妇，他们也至少有1/3的方面的事情，他们就是
About 2/3.
的意见。
About 2/3 of the things in life they disagree on. That's normal. That's normal.
一件事情他们意见观点都不一致。
And the best couples fight.
也会吵架。
They know how to manage the disagreement and they know how to fight in a way that produces a good result.
那些很幸福的相处的好的夫妇呢，他们知道如何吵架，而且如何以一种能够产生积极效果的一个方式来处理。
Statistics. I didn't make it up. That's actually statistics.
这是有关的一项实验结果，并不是咕噜就是听口而说的。
Like you're flying an airplane and you say, too many problems, I want to jump out the window.
说你在飞机上在飞行，然后呢，你觉得哎呀，飞机上这么多的问题麻烦，然后呢，你就想，哎呀，我现在不飞了，我想跳下飞机。
Doesn't solve the problem. You have to learn how to fly the airplane.
问题应该就是学会如何更好的去。
So this is my realization about marriage. It's harder to be married than to fly an airplane.
对婚姻的一个觉悟，就是你就是要让一个婚姻成功的话，甚至比让飞机起飞还要困难。
Every day, thousands of marriages are crashing, but only a few airplanes crash a year. So that means it's easier to fly an airplane than to fly a marriage.
那就是每年这个婚姻破碎的这个案例都不计数，但是呢，你看一下，就是每年的话，这个飞机那个事故的事情，其实并不是那么多。
Would you just get an airplane? Would you just get on an airplane and then go and say, okay, I'm going to fly it? No, because you don't know how.
说就是你那个有了一架飞机，然后呢，你就说，哎，我现在就让飞机起飞。因为你如果不知道如何让飞机起飞的话，你就起飞不了。
So why would you think you can just jump in a marriage and you know how to fly it? You have to learn.
这就是同样的道理，就是你想让你的婚姻能够顺利起飞的话呢，你就也需要学会相关的一些方
That's
法。
why it doesn't work, because we don't know how to fly it.
婚姻通常会有问题，因为我们不知道如何让
This button is for this. Don't push this button now, because if you push this button, the plane's going to go up, and you're trying to land it. Don't push this button now, because the plane wants to go up, and you're pushing. Don't push his button when he's not in a good mood. He shouldn't push your. You have to learn all these things.
就比如说，现在有一个那个按钮，在婚姻当中，你就不应该去按下这个按钮，否则的话呢，就是本来飞机要起飞的，你按了之后飞机就要那个降落了，就是相反的。
You want to hear something amazing? This is statistics.
这就是一项实验的结果。
If you start if you start a discussion with something negative, you always do this. You're stupid. It's guaranteed to fail the argument. 100% guaranteed. That's statistics. Interesting to know, isn't it? If you have a problem and you begin with a criticism, it's guaranteed you won't solve the problem. It's good to know that, isn't it? And we need to learn these things. We have to learn how to talk to one another. If talking to another woman is different than talking to a man.
So, I actually wanted to ask this question from Jana Mama, the wife, but because she in the car, so I want to clarify.
There's things you can do that will guarantee your marriage gets worse, and there's things you can do which will guarantee your marriage gets better. So I would suspect you're doing the things, both of you are doing things to make it worse. You just have to learn how to do the things to make it better.
这事情你做了，它100%会让你的婚姻变得更加糟糕。
Because you don't know how to fly the airplane.
做了之后呢，
That's all.
需要去学会，就是做让你的婚姻能够变得成功的这些事情。
You're flying the airplane and you don't know how to fly it, so you say, I don't like flying airplanes. Because you don't know how to fly it. That's all. Once you learn how to fly it, it's like fun.
让飞机起飞了，如果你不知道如何驾驶一架飞机的话，你就要去学，这样的话呢，你才可以让飞机起飞，否则的话呢，你根本做不到。
You know, it's amazing. There's a man who can watch you and your husband talk about a problem.
是有一位就是观察者，他可以就是看到你跟你的妻子的这个问题。
And after 15 minutes of watching you, if nothing changes, he can predict 9 out of 10 marriages, what will happen to them. He can make that prediction because there are things you can do which destroy a marriage and things you do that help a marriage, and he'll see which ones are there. And he's 9 out of 10 times he's right, just because you haven't learned. So it could be good, it could be bad.
就是呢， 有一位这样一位的观察者，他通过观察15分钟之内你跟你妻子的一个行为表现、你们对话等等，可以预测出将来你们的婚姻的走向。基本上就是将来婚姻会长久的持续下去，还是说中间会出现各种各样的问题等等。然后呢，他基本上90%的他的预测都是正确的。
Do you know that?
你们知道吗？
It only takes 15 minutes of watching you. And you can see all the signs, the good ones or the bad ones. It's 15.
之间的这些对话呀，这些表情什么的，它都可以预测出你们将来的一个婚姻的一个动态。
7 comments. I can't read the comments. Can't even. If you made a comment, I don't see it and I can't read it. Yeah. You coming tomorrow to the workshop? Both of you? If you can come, if you can come for all 3 days, you'll be fine. No problem. You'll know how to fly the air. If you come for 3 days, you'll know how to fly the airplane. Like why would you want to be a pilot and not know how to fly an airplane? It doesn't make sense. Then you might say, but in America, only half the people get divorced.
在美国的话呢，有一半的这个人他会。
But doesn't mean they have good marriages just because they didn't get divorced.
然后呢，他们就是这个婚姻就不幸福。
I would say most of them are probably not that good. And the ones that are good were born pilots. They're intuitively pilots. They do the right thing. They know how to fly a plane. You don't have to show them. But that's the exception.
并不是说那些很不好的那些人，他们通常也是非常虔诚的、非常具有慈善心的这些人，但是呢，因为他们不知道如何去驾驶婚姻这架飞机，所以他们没法做得让婚姻成功。
You know what?
知道
When you get married, you live with somebody
其他人
that doesn't like everything you do.
就不喜欢你所做的每一件事情，
And they point those things out to you.
然后呢，他们就会对你指出来，
Not fun, is it?
那么好玩，是不是？
So one teacher said, it's not that you don't like your spouse, you don't like yourself, and they're always telling you what's wrong with yourself. That's the problem.
不喜欢你的伴侣指出问题所在，而是说，当你的伴侣指出来你的问题的时候，你不喜欢看到，就他指出来你的这一部分，其实是你不能接受你自己。
You're always getting upset at me. I don't do anything wrong. Still, you get upset. Now, you don't like that. He said that, but it's true. And that's what's hard. So you like him. You just don't like the fact that he's showing you what you're like, or vice versa.
那就是如果你的伴侣呢，去指出来你身上就是令你自己都无法接受的这一点的时候呢，你真的他会伤害到你，因为你虽然很喜欢他，但是就是你因为不能接受你自己的这一部分，所以你就接受不了他对你的这种行为。
Anyway, it's a sample of what you'll learn tomorrow. There's much more to it.
这就是我给你们举的一个例子而已，就是明天你们会学到更多。
So much of the problem is because we can kind of be any way we want as a son or a daughter or a friend to somebody. But when you're a husband or wife, you can't just be any way you want because you affect this other person so much. So you have to be very careful how you act. And that's new for us. You know, we're so close and we affect the other person so much. we never had to be like that before. Now we have to learn how to, I may be crazy, but I can't be crazy now because that's going to upset him. I can be crazy at home and I'll just go in my room and bang the door down. But it's not going to be a big problem. But when you're married, it's going to be a big problem.
我们通常的话，如果我们是一个儿子、一个女儿，或者是别人的朋友之间的关系的话呢，我们可以随心所欲的去做自己，对对方没有任何的一个伤害。但是呢，当我们面对伴侣的时候，因为彼此之间的关系这么的亲近，就是你不可能按你就是原来随心所欲的去做你所想做的，因为你要考虑到你的一言一行、一举一动都会影响到你的伴侣。
I was just thinking of something.
因为这种关系是如此的亲近，是你从来没有过的一种关系，所以呢，你就不能去按照你原有的一种方式去行为，所以你就需要去学习如何去更好的去面对。就比如说，如果你出现问题的时候，你一个人的时候，可能就直接关上门，然后独自一个人在房间里面。把自己锁上一段时间，但是当你面对伴侣的时候，你这样做就会引起麻烦。
I was thinking of something today.
今天也会想到了某一件事情。
Sometimes my mother would get really upset.
我的母亲就变得特别的那个烦躁不安。
Like a hurricane in the house.
就像是一个在屋里发怒的。
Not a lot, maybe once every few years. Just build up and she would explode. Once every few years.
就是他在几年之前有一次就是在房间里面就是一次情绪发作。
Yelling, I work so hard, nobody cares.
然后他就在我们家里大喊大叫的说：“哎呦，你看我这么辛苦，就没人关心我。”
You could hear it through the whole house. Just on and on and on like that. And my father couldn't deal with it. And when she did that, he just went in the bedroom. She was in the kitchen, and the bedroom was the furthest place from the kitchen he could get. So he went in his bedroom and just closed the door, and she would scream about how much nobody cared.
本来他正在厨房里面，就是在忙着呢。后来他情绪爆发的时候，他就走到离厨房最远的一个房间，就他的那个卧室里面，然后关上门，自己一个人在那里大喊大叫，然后没人关心他，他是如此的这种辛苦。
So I was thinking today,
今天就想，
when people get very emotional like that, I just kind of go in the other room because that's what my father did. That's what I grew up seeing. When someone gets a little too emotional, just like go away from them. But when you're married, that's not good. So you have to learn how to change your conditioning to the new situation. And we all have this other conditioning, and it doesn't always work in that relationship. So we have to learn these things. That makes sense?
那就是像因为我是在这种情况下长大的，所以呢，有时候当我一个人的时候有情绪的时候，我可能就会学着我母亲的这种做法，然后把自己关到屋子里面，这样处理一下。但是呢，当进入婚姻之后呢，如果我还是按这种做法的话呢，那肯定会给我的婚姻带来一些麻烦。所以这个时候呢，在婚姻中我遇到情绪的时候，我就需要去用一种适应于这个婚姻的这种方式去解决这样的问题，不可能再像之前那样把一个人关起来处理问题。
So I have to learn how to talk to people when they're emotional, because my father taught me if they're emotional, just don't say anything and kind of get away. But it doesn't work when you're married.
就是可能我的父亲教给我的就是，当你这个有情绪的时候呢，你就把自己关起来，然后远离这个麻烦的这个地点，所以呢，把自己给那个就是隔离一下。但是呢，我发现长大之后进入婚姻当中，这种方法并不奏效， 因为在婚姻当中，当你有情绪的时候，你需要学会如何去表达出来你的这种情绪。
Maybe your husband's father was in control of the house, and his mother just said, "Yes, whatever you ask, I do." And that's what he grew up thinking a wife should be. And you're the total opposite. He has to adjust to that. You understand?
就是跟他的父母之间争吵的时候，他的父亲就是比较占那个权威的位置，可能就说你对他的妻子说你应该怎么怎么做，然后他的妻子就说你说的很对，我应该这样做，就比较谦卑的接受。但是对于你的话，你的性格可能就是另外一个方面了。如果你的丈夫在用他父亲的这种方式对待你的话，你就接受不了。
The sound is not stable. Bad internet or bad computer or both. See how complicated it is? You're acting in certain ways, and you have a whole history of why you're acting. And another woman in your situation may act a different way, another woman a different way. So we need to understand.
说我们的有些行为举止，它有它的一个然后呢，你的这些个性和行为。
It's complicated.
所以就是两个人的话，需要去理解。
You know, sometimes you have to ask a question. Are you married or are you single? You know, like on Facebook, married, single. And some people don't hit married, they don't hit single, they just say it's complicated.
其实呢，单身还是离婚的，有的人呢，他就是既不喜欢单身，也不喜欢那个离婚，他就会觉得这太复杂了。Because both of them they were born and they grew up in different countries, so in different
Cultures.
family. So because his husband born in devotee family, and also he will deal with as his parents did. But I will deal with some problem as the Chinese traditional way. But still, I found most of this didn't work. So what to do? I found this problem in marriage.
You both have to understand one another. Why you like it this way, why he likes it that way.
你喜欢这种方式，为什么他喜欢那种方式？
The main thing is you want to make sure one another are happy. You want to make sure he's happy, he wants to make sure you're happy. So you want to understand him to make him happy, he wants to understand you to make you happy. In China, you could marry a Chinese man and he could have a totally different family than yours. It's not just China. You can have a totally different culture in his family. His parents could be always yelling and screaming, and maybe your parents are very soft. So even in one country, it's different. Yes? Some Chinese people, they always yell. That's how they talk. Yeah? Yes? Sounds like they're throwing knives when they talk. Some are very soft. Can hardly hear them. They're very soft. So even in China, you'll get different cultures.
对方的家里面的这个背景，可能他们之间相互的这个交流方式非常的温和，非常的那个
So let's say your family is very loud. That's how they talk.
家庭里面的人讲话的方式都是非常的大声的。
They argue about everything.
然后呢，
And that's how they work things out.
家人就是解决问题的一个方法，就不是打比方。
In his family, they sit down and discuss calmly.
家庭里面有可能是他的家人就坐在一起，然后平和的去谈论一些问
So
题。
he says, let's go to Mayapur.
他们一起去。
You say, are you crazy? We can't afford going to Mayapur. You have to stay. And you're all excited. And he's like, why are you angry? And you say, I'm not angry. I'm just talking. But for him, you're yelling. So he has to understand that, and you have to understand that. Then you can adjust. Yes?
为什么要去韩国啊？什么什么的？高的一种音调或一种方式，但是在他看来，有可能就是你在大喊叫。
Habla español? No, nada. That makes sense? Yes. So you have to talk. This is how we do it. This is what this means. This is why we do it. Listen, I have a good story. I have a good story. You want a good story? This is amazing. This is a good story. The wife is Catholic, and the wife is Catholic, and the husband agnostic. You know agnostic? Agnostic is kind of like atheist, but they don't know if God exists. But the husband doesn't want anything to do with religion, and the wife is very religious.
非常有宗教心的一位人士，然后丈夫可以说就是不信神，类似于无神论的。
He doesn't want the children going to church. For her, religion is very important. It's a big problem, right? It's an amazing story. They went to a therapist, and the therapist said, why is religion important, and why is being agnostic important? Really good story. She said when she was young, her family was always fighting. It was very difficult for her. So religion was stabilizing her. She'd go to church, and they would take care of her at church, and she'd be very stable. For him, it was the opposite. Religion destroyed the family. Somehow, I don't remember the detail, but religion was more important to the parents than the kids. So he was repulsed by religion because God and religion ruined the relationship he had with his father.
哦，就是说对于这个丈夫这方面呢，他就是一个相反的例子，因为他家里他父母是宗教人士，但是呢，就是他们之间的这个相处不好，然后让儿子对他父母的无神论者，他认为
So once they understood that, it's like, oh, now I know why you want to go to church. Okay, that's good. And you can take our son. And now I know why you don't want to go to church. Okay. So now they understood why the difference was there. Does that make sense? Makes sense to you. It makes sense to you? So you have to explain. This is important to me because why is it important? Because of this reason. This is important to him, and then you make a compromise. There are some problems you have, about 2/3, that you can't solve. You're just differences. There'll always be differences. So you just have to adjust to them. You know what also they found? This is amazing. This may sound strange to devotees, but if you study astrology, you'll find this is also true. Compatibility is not the predictor of a good marriage. Compatibility is not the predictor. How you deal with the incompatibility is the predictor of a good marriage. Because compatible couples still may not know how to deal with 3/4 of the things that they're still going to disagree on. That makes sense? Much more to say, but we have to think in terms of managing. Yeah. It's difficult. There's no other relationship like it. Your sister, your brother, your mother, your aunt, your uncle. It's different. Even girls or boys that were friends. It's different. This one is, you got to learn how to do this. Not easy. And crazy things are going to come out of you that never came out of you before. Right? You thought you were normal. You thought you were a normal person until you get married and you see how weird you are. How much we want to control, how much our egos are wounded.
多大程度上想要去，想要去。
You have another person, it's not a machine. It's really hard to control somebody. He's trying, but it's not, he's probably, you're not. You're resisting, right? Anyway, we solve all the problems this weekend. Okay. Devotees have a challenge. Any traditional religion has a challenge. It's what I call the, I don't know if you can translate this. You shame somebody by saying it's not Vedic, or if you're Christian, it's not Christian, or if you're Buddhist, saying that's not Buddhist, or if you're Chinese, you do something, you go, that's not Chinese, or that's not Buddhist, that's not Christian, or that's not Vedic, you know? So that's another big obstacle in marriage. You understand? Like, let's say you get upset and you tell your husband, I don't want to do this. And your husband pulls out the Vedic card and goes, that's not Vedic. And shames you. Like, you're not a Vedic wife, or you're not a Christian wife, or you're not a, you know, that's not what my mother would do. You pull out this, we call it a trump card. You pull out a card and you show it to make them feel bad. So that's very bad. Well, I have some news for husbands. They stopped manufacturing Vedic wives many thousands of years ago. They stopped producing Vedic wives thousands of years ago. I think they went out with dinosaurs or something like that. I think when the dinosaurs became extinct, I think the Vedic wives, you know, they're not around anymore.
就说那个这个就是5000年前的亚洲王朝没落之后呢，基本上这个北达传统。
So you can't expect that.
这个不能
But the smart woman says, okay, you want me to be a Vedic wife, so when you become a Vedic husband, I'll become a Vedic wife. And the husband thinks, well, the Vedic husband, he just does whatever he wants, and the wife just does whatever he tells him. That's not whatever he tells her. That's not the Vedic husband. But that's what he thinks. Oh, you're supposed to just do whatever I say. Doesn't matter what I'm like. That's not a Vedic husband. Understand?
就是按他自己的想法去做，按照我所期待的去做，他也是符合这个伟大标准。
That makes sense? Maybe I should write an article. The myth of the Vedic wife.
或者说第一集里面当今天有
Or no,
对的，
the extinction of the Vedic wife.
有关这个
I was asking a devotee, I said, how much do you think people can change their culture? He shot back immediately. Oh, about 1%. We are who we are. We are who. People in Latin America, they're very open. However they feel, they tell you, right? That's really. You meet them 5 minutes later, you're their best friend. Yes? You know everything about them. The Chinese people, maybe different culture. So, maybe if you move to Latin America, you'll become like that. But if you stay here, you probably won't change much. So you both have to understand your cultures. Why? I think it's why people Haribol. You have to understand why, what the cultures are like. So that good. Whenever I see you, I think of a Buddhist monk. They call them monks? They call the women monks, or they have another name? When women become monks, they have a name, female name, or same as the men? Same? That answer your question? There's much more to say. That's just for starters. You see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Very interesting problem. Yeah. He wants a Vedic wife. Now he knows they don't exist. Sorry to inform you, but you got a Chinese wife, not a Vedic wife. In case you didn't notice. And you got a Latino husband. Here's something really interesting. If a man and a woman like one another, when they first meet, they want to spend time together because they like one another. Right? And they're happy to be with one another. But they really don't know what one another are like. They just know what one another are like in public, but not in private.
嗯，
So there's a whole other side to that person. Yeah. That you never saw. Of all the things you don't like about the person. So all of a sudden, things aren't as good as they were before. Things when you start seeing this, it's not as good as it was before. And you're thinking, oh my God, what did I get myself into? You have to learn how to manage that. You have to learn to overlook faults, appreciate the good qualities. Otherwise, you'll overlook the good qualities and focus on the faults, and you'll go crazy. Most people don't change that much that fast. So what you have, I'm sorry to say, is basically what you have. It's not going to change a whole lot, but you can learn to focus on the good and not have problems about what you don't like. You have to do that. You know, like what's very funny for men. If there's a mouse in the house running around, women start screaming. Just a mouse. It's a little mouse. So, you know, you meet this woman, you think she's so beautiful and so intelligent, and then she sees a little mouse and screams and jumps on the table, and men think that is so weird. And the man just gets a little paper towel and gets it and picks it up and puts it outside. No problem. Different. It's just the way it is. If boys are playing and one boy gets hurt and he limps off the field, limping, because he hurts his leg, and the game continues. If that happens with girls, the game stops and everybody's wants to make sure she's okay. Isn't that interesting? Just we think differently, men and women. Isn't that funny? The game stops, but boys are like, no, it's all about winning, competition. The girls are about, no, we can't play because one of us is injured. This isn't good. This is a different mentality. Different. So we have to learn how to manage those differences and accept them also. Is that okay? You can do it. You can learn. And everything will calm down. Men don't listen to their wives. That's normal. Men do not like talking about relationships. They'd rather go to the dentist. If it was a choice of getting my tooth pulled or talking about relationship with my wife, I think I'd rather get the tooth pulled. Pulled tooth.
如果给男人两个选择，医院牙科治疗呀。
Men are more about accomplishing things. They just want to get things done. Women are more about the experience of the relationships while it's getting done. So practically in every marriage, all the talks about let's talk about a relationship are inaugurated by women, not by men, because men don't care so much. So men have to learn that talking about these things is very important. And women, both men and women, have to learn how to talk about things that are upsetting without making their partner feel upset. We have to learn these things. Okay? That's enough for tonight. Well, that should make you feel like you're perfectly normal if you're having problems. Anyone who flies an airplane and doesn't know how to fly an airplane, they're going to have problems unless they were born, they're pilots in their last life and they remember everything and they're just doing it. They're going to have problems. Problems are not the problem. Not knowing how to deal with them, that's the problem. And allowing those problems to destroy the relationship, that's the biggest problem. I was reading something, they say, you can take a compatible couple, that means they like doing the same things, but then they go out and do the same things and just fight. So what's the value of being compatible? Because, well, let's go on vacation to somewhere, and they both agree because they like the same things. They like to hike, and then they fight the whole time they're hiking. So compatibility is not the solution, but managing knowing how to argue, knowing how to deal with these things.
即便那些的那个夫妇，他们之间争吵，如果他们不去学会如何争吵。
And one of the things I'm sure you're aware of that's so interesting is people can fight about the stupidest things. And then they can have, you don't need a big problem to have a big fight. You can have a big fight over something insignificant. Right? Isn't it true? It's true, right? Sometimes the fight can get so big, you forget what you were fighting about. Isn't that amazing? You can forget what you were fighting about. This is American baseball. I used to play baseball, so I know how to throw. Okay, we're going to end here. We'll see you, I don't know when, but we'll keep you posted. Hare Krishna.